I'm Julia from Jooya Teaching Resources, and tonight I'm going to be talking all about duration and the 8, if I can put my hands up, the right thing, 8 steps, the 8 things you need to master that concept of music of duration. Okay, so there's a trick to it. It's not hard, especially if you're talking and doing the HSC music exam. There's 8 things you need to be talking about. You could have less, you could have more, but if you can remember at least some of these, you're going to be on your way to some sort of success about these. What is duration? So before we get started, you can sort of see behind me, I printed the posters. So the concepts of music one is one from an actual resource. I'm going to be taking these to my classroom tomorrow anyway. And you can also see, sorry, there, just there, that is the poster I'll be talking about. You can't quite see all of it. And I tried to get it down a bit further, but I wasn't very successful. Oh, here it is. I already put it. So this is when you print it little. Okay, so this is half the size. So this is, you can get 2 on a page on this size. That one is A3. So this is A5. That's A3. Same document. I just printed it different sizes. That's all. And again, also, you can also then make it even smaller. Helps if I go the right way. Even smaller too, which if you wanted to, you can actually then do this sort of thing, okay, which is what I was talking about before. So in the free resource that I'm using tonight, you get this, okay, but I said you don't have to print it this little. I am, all right, and also the mind maps. And again, this is printed really little. This is printed 4 to a page, whereas if you print it full size, then you can get it, and it looks more like, here's one I prepared earlier, that. So that's your A4 size. So you can see though, if I put it there we go, and that's the like 4 to a page. I can actually fit 4 on that page. Okay, so depending on how you want to print it and what you want to use it for, there's lots of different ways you can use it. But mine, as to those ones that are behind me, are going to go up in my classroom. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow. I'll see how I go, because my classroom, is being used by other people, so I don't always get to have the space just to prepare and do what I have to do. So I will share my screen and we'll get the 8 steps started. But as said, we are talking duration tonight, and for me, duration is one of the fun topics. It's often a concept that people start with when they are learning the concepts of music. Duration is usually a place people will start. Doesn't really matter where you start, but it's often a really good spot to start. So let's do the famous share screen. Okay, that one, and I will then make this a, whatever you call it, slideshow. Come on, from the beginning. Here we go. Alrighty, so you should be able to see me there. Hopefully that's all good. I'm just having a look. Even if I move that, doesn't matter, does it? Sorry, I was just talking to myself there because I can't see the whole screen because things are in the road, but that's all good. Okay, but we are talking about the duration, and tonight, 8 steps to mastering what is duration in music. And it really isn't that easy. And you might go, 8 steps, oh my goodness, that's a lot. But when I break it down, it's actually really easy because I've got a simple way for you to remember those 8 steps. Okay, come on. And there we go. Alrighty, so welcome. So we're going to look at very briefly what are the 6 concepts of music. We're going to look at those. I'll give you a very brief explanation of those 6 concepts of music. Then we're going to dive a bit deeper into what is duration, and I'll talk about the freebie as well and how that maybe you might want to use it yourself if you're studying for the HSC, or if you're a teacher who teaches the HSC or is teaching the concepts of music or even the elements of music. As I said, I refer to the HSC, the high school certificate for year 12, because that's what I actually teach at my school. But if you teach the concepts of music in your state and in your country, it's the same thing. You might be obviously gearing it up for something slightly different, but that's where my brain is coming from and why we have to write about music and use the concepts for a very specific type of exam. As said, 8 steps to remember it and get it mastered. So duration is one of the 6 concepts in music. And if you see there, there's 6 there. So duration simply means how long or short a sound is. And I'll get to a bit of a deeper dive in that shortly. Dynamics and expressive techniques. Dynamics refers to how loud or soft the music is. And expressive techniques refers to the articulation and unique sound production methods of an instrument. Now, I've been picked up before and people say, but dynamics actually is how it's played. Yes, I agree. It is certainly how it's played. But if you're the person listening to the music, then you are referring to the dynamics on how loud or soft it comes across. So yes, dynamics is how you play it, but it's also when you're listening to it, you've actually got to talk about it in a slightly different way. Okay, so bear with me there. Yes, it is. All comes down to how it's being performed. All these things do. Pitch means how high or low a pitched note is. Structure refers to the order and arrangement of the parts of a piece of music. Texture is how, that should say thick or thin or sparse or dense the layers of sound are in a piece of music. And tone color refers to the instruments used in a piece of music. So if you are using the elements of music, you might think of duration as rhythm. Okay, dynamics is on its own. Expressive techniques might come in underneath timbre for you. Pitch for me encompasses melody, tonality, and harmony. All those three things. Structure is structure or form. Texture is the same. And tone color, some people might call it either performing media or timbre. But to me, timbre refers more to just the actual sound of the instrument, not necessarily all the other parts, okay? So we're going to look at the concept of music of duration. So just a few definitions here to get you sort of in the right thinking, I suppose. But duration simply means how long or short a sound is performed. Now, I was teaching year 7 today, and we were listening to Kate Miller-Heidke, actually, and her song Vertigo. And the thing I love about that one is, and it's hilarious watching, seriously, the boys try to do what she does at the end of that song, the vocal gymnastics that she does. It's so much fun watching these kids have a ball with it. But we were talking about how long or short a sound is. We were talking about duration. We're actually talking about a few concepts today. But at that level for year 7, I simply asked them, how long or short are the notes in the melody? How long or short are the notes being played by whatever instrument? So that's all we're referring to. When I'm saying duration, it's taking it down to its very minimum, very, very basic forms. That's what duration is. It's all about how long or short a sound is. It's not about how long a song is performed. We're not talking about 2 minutes, 35 seconds, okay? We're not talking about that. We're talking about the notes themselves. Another way of defining duration, if you want to get really a bit more specific about it, and this to me is a crossover with rhythm. So duration refers to the arrangement of notes of differing lengths, often grouped and placed in time in relation to a pulse or steady beat. Now, to me, that's more rhythm. And I think I've got that definition specifically for rhythm later on. But again, just a slightly broader term. But for me, when I'm talking about things with the kids, I literally, for year 7 especially, duration just means how long or short a sound is. So if you're teaching the concepts of music and you'd like a freebie, now I'll refer to this and I'm going to show you a few things out of this, and I already have. You can go and get your free copy there at juliajooya.teachable.com/P/master- the concept of music. Okay, but seriously, if you go to juliajooya.teachable.com, there's only 2 things there on the screen, and one of them is actually this. The other one is the course, which is closed at the moment. Okay. So the poster, as I said, I was showing you before, so I know you can see that as well. Okay, you can see it's exactly the same what's on the screen. Oh, it's amazing. Okay, so duration poster. So as I showed you, and the one that's behind me, which is a bit hard to see with the glare on there, if you print it A3 size, you can use it as a poster and display for reference, okay, in the classroom, which is what I'm about to do tomorrow when I get to school, or print it A5 size, which is that size, 2 to a page, 2 to an A4 page, and you can pop that in their books. You don't even have to print it color. You can print it black and white, and I'll show you that should be for duration there. And I thought I'd fixed everything. And then if you print it A6 size, which is half of the other one, that's where you get, like you can see that's half of that one. You get 2 to a page, okay? All right, but if you do 2 of those, you can get 4 to a page when you're printing, and it's a really good one way, as I said before and I showed you before, to laminate and put them together like that. Okay, it's a really good way to use it. And I said, I love these things. I've got so many of these resources that I put together like that for my kids. Then again, you can talk about the mind map, which again is what I literally put on the back of duration. Put it on the back of it. for my kids. Actually, I'll be asking them tomorrow. I meant to ask the other day, but we've got sidetracked. So you could, again, print it A3 size and make it as a poster for reference. Okay, you can print it A5 and have it put into their books, which is what I've been doing with my kids. We're actually doing tone color at the moment. Sorry, I should have fixed that pitch there. That should say duration. But again, you can use it for individual work or as part of a group work. Bigger is much better for group work. Smaller is more for an individual or as a reference. So using the mind map, you can do it for lots of different things. As a listening map, okay, talking about specifically duration, as a performance planning map, which is really, really helpful, or again, a composition planning map. Okay, there's 3 different ways that you can actually use those mind maps. I love them, and they, the kids actually, it helps them solidify what the concept actually is. But this particular one, it's all pretty and it's got lots of colours, and that is in the Concepts of Music mind maps, which is also in my store. But this is the one I will that I will actually put on up in display in my room as well. So, and it's, look, it ties straight into this one. Actually, I'll make it this. All right. So if you see there, duration's in the middle, and that's the thing we're talking about. But if you go around, okay, tempo, ostinato, time signature, accents, length of notes, beat and phrasing, and then lastly rhythm. Here it is here. Okay, so honestly, I say to my kids, I don't care which T you start with. It doesn't matter if you say start with time signature and then do tempo. Doesn't matter as long as you've got the T's there. All right, so tempo, ostinato, time signature, accent, length of note, beats, phrasing, and rhythm. Total BPR. That's the 8 things. Okay, that's what you actually need. Is it 8? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it is 8. So I wasn't sure if I had the right number. Oops. But again, as you can see there on this slide, total BPR refers to what that mind map is. They interlock, okay, and it's meant to be that. So that if you were doing this in the classroom, you could have that poster displayed, have your mind map ready to go and say to the kids, all right, there's your mind map. I'd have it a bit smaller than this one. I don't know why I haven't got my small one, but you have it smaller than that and get them to actually fill in the details. What's time signature, ostinato, tempo, accent, length of notes, and go all the way around, and then get them in, put those in those little bubbles, and then get them to do the definitions around the outside. Perfect way to get them to learn what time duration is all about, and the things to focus on when you're looking at duration or listening for duration or composing for duration. But let's break it down. So I'll just go back there. So the secret is just that, total BPR. Time signature, ostinato, tempo, accent, length of notes, beat, phrasing, rhythm. That's it. If you can talk about those 8 things, alrighty, when you're actually listening to a piece of music and it's asking you about duration, if you can make a point about each one of those, if you are struggling to do something, you're going to get yourself like at least halfway there to actually responding to and talking about duration. You can obviously flesh it out and do a lot more, and I have a lot more information about what each of those are in my Concepts of Music books, and especially one on duration. But if just to get this started and get yourself started, and so that you've got something to talk about, you use those 8 things: time signature, ostinato, tempo, accent, length of notes, beat, phrasing, rhythm. Okay, total BPR. That's the secret. So just to break it down for you though, so time signature simply is the 2 numbers at the beginning of a piece of music that determine the number and type of notes in the bar. So the time signature there is 2/4. So 2/4 simply means march time, 1 2 1 2 1 2. If it was in 3/4 time, it's 3 beats per bar. So we're talking waltz time. It's 4/4. We're talking about a simple quadruple. If it's a 6/8 or a 3/8 or a 9/8 or a 12/8, we're then now talking about compound time. And there's a lot of information about time signature. But if you can simply identify the time signature, listen to it, tap it out. I always say to my kids, tap it on your hand, because that way, count it out nice and silently, because if you're tapping on the desk, it really gets annoying if someone else is trying to, and especially if you're not tapping in time. So try tapping on your hand, time signature, count it out. All right, that fits. Okay, so it's a 2/4 signature, time signature. And then you say the music is in a 2/4 time signature, or a 3/4 or 4/4, or whatever it happens to be. There are more things and more details that you could be talking about with time signature, but just to keep it simple, talk about time signature, at least state it and define it. Now, an ostinato is simply a repeated musical pattern. When you're doing something on duration, though, what you really need to be focusing on is just simply the rhythmic ostinatos. So not your melodic ones, not your riffs, okay, your guitar riff, bass riff, any of those sorts of things. We're talking about our rhythmic ostinatos. So it's any instrument that's like that's not performing any, what do you call it? Doesn't have pitch. So, you know, it could be a shaker, a tambourine, it could be the drums, it could be anything that's not pitched, okay? And we're looking and listening for rhythmic ostinatos. And also what you want to do is not only say that there are ostinatos there, you want to say when it is, what instrument's performing it, and if you can even add in what type of ostinato in terms of like what, how do I put that? You just want to give a bit more information. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But you want to talk about rhythmic ostinatos and when there's what instrument's playing it, in what section is the main thing, and again, maybe what role it's playing. Is it, you know, is it mainly being a rhythmic accompaniment or supporting the beat? What is it actually doing? So the next T in total BPR is tempo. Again, you could start with this one if you want to, but tempo is simply the speed of the music. And again, with my year sevens today, we were actually talking about tempo and the piece of music that we listened to a couple today, but we talked about how fast or slow it was. And even my year sevens know this. Now, the trick is with tempo is not only to be able to identify it and say that the music is fast, medium, or slow, but if you can actually add those correct musical Italian terms, you're going to do yourself an even bigger favor. So is it adagio, slow? Is it moderato, andante, allegro, allegretto, presto, vivace, prestissimo? Any of those terms, if you know what they are and you can describe it, do so. Now, things that also come under tempo would be if the tempo slows down or if it speeds up. So if it's speeding up, we're talking about an accelerando. You want to say when it's happening, okay? Is it in the middle of the piece, at the beginning of the piece, at the end of the piece? If you want to talk about the tempo slowing down, then you want to talk about a rallentando or ritardando or ritenuto, depending on which term you want to use. And again, slowing down. And when is it happening? Okay, so you want to say that it starts at this speed and goes to this speed, and then maybe it even goes back to another speed, which is a tempo. Accents. Now, in popular music, a lot of kids, when you've been listening to popular music all your life, you don't necessarily notice accents, but most music was not written with an accent on the offbeat, which is a type of syncopation or a backbeat. But an accent is a stress or emphasis on the note or chord or passage. Now, most of us listen to music that's using, as I said, a backbeat, which is emphasis on beats 2 and 4. Now, most music, classical music, has emphasis in a 4/4 time signature on 1 and 3. In a waltz, it's on beat 1. Okay, so where are the accents happening? Are they happening sporadically? Are they evenly distributed in the music? Are they regular or irregular? Okay, what type of accents actually are there? And if you can say what instruments are performing it and in what section, you're going to even do better, and because you're adding more detailed information about accents in the music. Now, good thing if you're listening to classical music and it's a classical piece and often there's a timpani, they're often doing some sort of accent. It's, you know, boom, 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 boom. That's that type of accent, okay? It could be a big clash of the cymbals, boom, boom, ba-da-da-da, boom, ba-da-da-da, whatever it happens to be. And it's an accent. Or it could be, as I said, on beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. As I said, we listen to so much music that has that type of accent that it's really hard that you don't even notice that it's there. But that is a type of accent. Now, length of notes encompasses a lot of things. So I use these terms: semi-breve, minim, crotchet, quaver, periquaver, semiquaver, join, semiquavers. You might use the terms whole note, half note, quarter note, eighth note, 16th note, okay? But the symbol and the value is exactly the same. You may call it something different, but the symbol and the value are exactly the same. But length of notes refers to how long or short a note is played by an instrument in a piece of music. The table on the side, as you can see, shows the different types of notes, their names, and the value counted in beats. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to length of notes than just this. Okay, we could be doing dotted notes, we could be doing all sorts of other things here, and also the way the notes have been played. So the length of notes might also be referred to if they're played smoothly, or if they're actually played more short, okay, and short and detached, how they're actually being accented. So it could be Miccato, Tenuto, all sorts of other Italian terms that could be in there. But simply put, the length of notes, and you might say, to be talking about a melody and saying that the length of notes in the melody were mainly short. However, they performed sustained or long notes at the end of each phrase. Okay, so we're talking about length of notes. It could be that you have an instrument, say like the didge, who's performing long notes. Over the top, there could be the clapsticks performing really, really short notes. Okay, they're the sorts of things you're talking about. So length of notes doesn't just have to be overall. It could be to a specific instrument in a specific section. Beat. Now, the beat is the underlying pulse, recurring accent in a piece of music. A beat can be described as definite or indefinite. Now, if you've got a piece of music and there's drums in there, usually they're performing on the beat, okay, keeping the beat. Sometimes the bass guitar or a double bass or a bass instrument of some sort is in that rhythm section performing along on that beat as well, okay. Sometimes, however, though, there's nothing performing the actual beat and you can still feel it there. That's where it's a pulse, okay. It's sort of in there, and that's when it would be an indefinite beat, because you can feel it and you can hear it, but you can't you can hear it's there, but you can't actually hear an instrument playing on the beat. Alrighty. So that's what the beat is referring to. So it's that regular underlying pulse. Now, if you can't do a regular pulse of a piece of music and you're finding that like you can't actually tap out the beat, maybe it doesn't actually have a regular pulse or a regular beat. Okay, it could be irregular. It could be using something called rubato. Okay, I love saying it like that, but rubato, so it's free and flowing. So, you know, depending on how they're actually playing it, it could be that they're speeding up and slowing down, all those sorts of things. Again, that refers to all those things in beat. Phrasing is another aspect of the concept of music of duration. Now, phrasing comes into so many parts of the so many different concepts of music. Honestly, you can't talk about any piece of music really without talking about the phrasing, because you are listening for these little things. A small musical sentence, usually heard when a singer takes a small breath or break between small sections of the melody. So it's really easy to hear when you've got someone singing the melody, okay, because you can sort of hear where they da 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 da, and they keep going. Okay, there's like these little breaks. Alrighty. However, if there's an instrument playing it, depending on the type of instrument, those phrases might be much longer, because if you're thinking, say, like a violin, for example, they don't have to take a breath. They don't have to wait for their breath to, you know, to make sure they can keep singing. It's unusual to be singing over 8 bars, one breath, 8 bars. It can happen. And in fact, there was a song my year 12s found last year that, you know, this person actually sings a phrase. It goes that long, it's ridiculous. Can't remember what it is. But phrasing is all about those small little sections of the melody. So the melody might be this big. Sorry, I keep doing that. Melody might be this big. However, the phrases are those little bits that make up the melody. And lastly, rhythm is the other thing that you need to worry about if you're talking about and wanting to master the concept of duration. So rhythm is, again, the arrangement of different notes of arrangement of notes of different lengths, often grouped and placed in time in relation to a pulse or a steady beat. Now, a pulse or steady beat. So again, there's the pulse. It could be there, but the clapping, the rhythm could be da 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 da. Okay, all those sorts of things. It could be, and that's the rhythm, where it's the pulse is underneath that rhythm. It may be that something's not actually playing it. So the rhythms are different. Now, rhythms you can talk about and describe. So it could be a smooth rhythm. It could be a jumpy rhythm. It could be a bouncy rhythm. It could be a syncopated rhythm or a swing rhythm. There's all sorts of different types of rhythms that you could actually be describing, and the way you're describing the rhythm as well. So there's lots of different ways that you could be talking about rhythm. So let's just go recap. In the freebie, okay, which I'll give you some information again in a moment, okay, the 8 steps to master what is duration in music. These are the 8 steps. Total BPR. So if you read it down the thing, total BPR, time signature, ostinato, tempo, accent, length of notes, beat, phrasing, rhythm. That's it. So if you've got a question on duration in the HSC exam, or if you're doing a viva voce, which is a presentation, or if you're actually just writing about a piece of music and you need to talk about duration, these are the ways that you can actually focus your discussion. So you can easily talk about the time signature, the types of rhythmic ostinatos, the tempo, the accents, the length of note, the beat, the phrasing, the rhythm, all in one piece of music. It doesn't matter what piece of music. You can talk about duration for any piece of music, okay? Anything. And again, that coloured one there, that mind map there is not in the freebie. The poster is, but that particular mind map isn't. It's, as I said, it's the blank one, okay? But the poster is meant to help you fill out the actual mind map. So the concepts of music freebie, this is what you get in there. Obviously, you can see these are just all the posters. So posters for each of the concepts, and you also get mind maps for each of the concepts, which you can't see in that actual picture. They're just the actual, what do you call it? The posters, alrighty, which you can sort of see behind me. Again, it's a bit hard to see. It's easier to see it in a small copy like that one, okay? Remember, this is printed little. And this is printed littler. Which is not really a good word to say, but you get what I'm talking about. And there's the mind maps. Okay, so there's duration. Okay, so you get the posters and the mind maps, but you get something for each of the concepts. Okay, each of the 6 of the concepts, plus a couple of others. You also get something that's in there. I call it other questions. So sometimes you have to talk and discuss other questions. Other questions, which could be talk about differences in music, and we talk about Mrs. Hip Dot for that, but I'm not going to get into that tonight because we're talking about duration. So if you would like to get yourself a free concepts of music download, you need to go to julia.teachable.com/p/master-the-concepts-of-music. Or if you simply just go julia.teachable.com and you go to the page of courses, you'll see that this is in there. So you just have to create yourself an account and you get the download instantly. So you can also find lots of the resource I've been referring to as well in my classroom. They're ready for you in the Teachers Pay Teachers store. And you can use the link in the description below to find my store, which is Jooya Teaching Resources over on Teachers Pay Teachers. And don't forget, I've also got a blog, so juliajooya.com. Now, there you will find, if you go on the main page, there's a thing that says the elements of music. Click on that elements of music, and then it's got a very brief overview of everything. So rhythm, what I'm talking about here in rhythm, I go into a lot more detail, and basically it's the same. Remember, rhythm and duration crossover, they're essentially the same sort of thing. But things that you're looking for in duration will all be in rhythm, okay? And thank you so much for watching. So let me just stop share there. So I said, that's the concepts of music. The 8 steps to mastering duration is total BPR. That's it. Time signature, ostinato, tempo, accent, length of notes, beat, phrasing, and rhythm. Yes, I went to say something for harmony. I thought I was doing pitch, but that's it. So, and I said, you can see it behind me there. I've got the poster quite big, and sorry, but the light's sort of glaring on there, and that's the concepts of music posters. And there's, as I said, there's so many ways you can do it. So, that you've actually got everything. Sorry, I'm just trying to find, here they are. All right, so don't forget the different ways you can print it. So A3, A4, this is A5, A6, A6, and again, my favorite way to do it is like this. And don't forget, you also get the mind maps in there. Alrighty, and believe me, there's enough information on my website for you to actually be successful with duration straight away. There's actually stacks there for you. So that's it. Alrighty, so I will say goodbye. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Jooya from Jooya Teaching Resources. And again, thank you so much for watching. And don't forget, if you like the video or if you like anything that you see here, don't forget to either subscribe to my channel or give me a thumbs up if you're watching on YouTube, or give me a big thumbs up and a like on Facebook if you're watching there as well. So until next time, I'm Julia from Jooya Teaching Resources. Bye.